గుంటూరు జిల్లా మంగళగిరిలో 75 ఏళ్ల భారత రాజ్యాంగంపై సదస్సు జరుగుతోంది. కార్యక్రమంలో సీజేఐ గవాయ్ మాట్లాడుతున్నారు. లైవ్ లో చూద్దాం.
Instrument to achieve social and economic justice also finds place in the Constitutional Assembly, in the Constitution. As all of us know that our Constitution stands on the four pillars of justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. The Constitutional Assembly put in Herculean labors for drafting the Constitution. Two of the speeches of Dr. Ambedkar, the first one on 4th of November 1948, wherein he presented a draft Constitution to the Constitutional Assembly, and the last one on the 25th of November 1949, wherein he replied the debates on the draft Constitution are, I think, most important speeches which every student of law should read. And as the Honorable Chief Minister said that he is a student, I am also a student of law, because I always consider that whenever a judge or a lawyer considers that he has now learnt everything, that is the end of a career as a lawyer or as a judge. And therefore, as a student of law, we must reflect upon the Constituent Assembly debates which went on for almost a period of 2 years and more, to understand what is the constitutional philosophy behind our Constitution. As the Honorable Chief Minister said that Dr. Ambedkar always considered, or rather for every citizen, the nation must be first. And Dr. Ambedkar in his first speech on 13th of December said that whenever the destinies of the nation are involved, the destinies of the individuals, the destinies of the ideologies, the destinies of the leaders, the destinies of the political parties are totally irrelevant, and what is most important is the destiny of the nation. And therefore, in the heart of Dr. Ambedkar, it was India as a nation which was the most important. Coming to the main subject, that India and the living Indian Constitution at 75 years, Dr. Ambedkar always considered that a constitution cannot be a static document. It has to be evolving, it has to be organic and a living document. And therefore, the Article 368 provides for the Constitution, for the amendment of the Constitution. There was criticism on Dr. Ambedkar that on one hand he was criticized that the powers to amend the Constitution are too liberal, and on the other hand it was criticized that some of the amendments which require ratification by two-thirds of the states, by half of the states and two-thirds majority of the parliament were too strong, and it was difficult to achieve an amendment in this manner. He said that wherever the amendments were necessary for answering the socio-economic challenges, the Constitution could be amended in a simpler way. But however, wherever a foundation of the Constitution like the independence of judiciary, the federal structure or the other important aspects are concerned, the power to amend the Constitution could not be simple, and therefore it was necessary that some more stringent conditions were required for amending the Constitution. As we see that we gave our Constitution to ourselves on the 26th of November 1949, and which came into effect from 26th of January 1950. The apprehensions as expressed by Dr. Ambedkar came to be true within a short period. In 1950, immediately after the Constitution came, the state of Tamil Nadu, then the state of Madras, had issued a government order providing for reservation for the scheduled caste and scheduled caste. The same came to be challenged before the Madras High Court on the ground that it was contrary violation of Article 14. The said challenge was upheld by the Madras High Court. It was carried before the Supreme Court in a Constitution Bench judgment. And in the celebrated judgment of Champakaran versus the state of Madras, the Supreme Court upheld the judgment of the Madras High Court and held the provision of reservation to be unconstitutional. And therefore, we find that in the very first amendment in 1951, the amendment which was moved by none else than Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Article 15 was amended so as to provide for reservation for the backward classes. Similarly, between 1946 to 1950, various states, in order to provide for agrarian reforms like the Ceilings Act, like the Agricultural Tenancy Act, had enacted various laws. Those laws were challenged. Some of the high courts upheld the validity of the laws. Some of the high courts negated the validity of the said enactments. And therefore, in order to bring about clarity, the same amendment also inserted Article 31A and 31B so as to provide for the agrarian reforms. The issue with regard to amendment of the Constitution came to be considered by the Supreme Court as early as in Shankari Prasad, to which the learned Chief Justice has referred to. And by a unanimous verdict, the 5 judges held that the Parliament's power to amend the Constitution cannot be restrained. It was held that if the Parliament, in order to answer the socio-economic challenges faced by the subsequent generations, is restricted for amending the Constitution, then the Constitution would not be a static or would not be a living document, and it will be a static document. That was carried, subsequently considered in Sajjan Singh, by virtue of 3-2, the power of the Constitution, power of the Parliament to amend the Constitution came to be upheld. But the seats of dissent were sowed in the very same judgment. Justice Hidayatullah said that to hold that the Parliament's power to amend the Constitution are unbridled, and they can even amend the Constitution to take away the fundamental rights, I would require stronger reasons than the ones given in Shankari Prasad. Justice Mudolkar, he said that if the power to amend the Constitution is to be